There is a tool sitting inside your Google account, completely free, that just quietly turned into something else. It used to be note-taking app, now it has its own cloud computer, it writes the runs code by itself. It finds its own sources on the internet without you asking. It builds you PowerPoints, Excel sheet, PDF reports, and even short animated documentaries out of documents you never even read. And almost nobody is talking about it the right way. 10 notebook LM tips. This isn't tips video. This is the moment you realize you have been using 10% of a tool that just become a research analyst, a coder, a video editor, and a study partner for free. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to turn any pile of information, a textbook, a business report, 50 YouTube videos, your own messy notes into finished professional output in minutes. Note summaries, actual deliverables. Stay till the end because the feature number 6 is 199% of people who use this tool every single day still don't know exists. Let's rewind for a second because context what makes this update land. NotebookLM started in 2023 as a quiet Google Labs experiment called Project Tailwind. The pitch was simple: upload your documents and get an AI that only answers from what you gave it. No hallucinating facts from nowhere, no making things up, just your sources understood deeply. For 2 years later, that was the whole product. Useful, grounded, a little boring. Then came audio overviews, the feature where two AI hosts turned your document into a podcast conversation, and the internet lost its mind. People were uploading their own diaries just to hear AI hosts discuss their lives. The single feature is arguably what you put NotebookLM on the map. But here's the part that actually matters for you. On June 8, 2026, Google didn't add a feature, they rebuilt the engine underneath it. Every single notebook now gets its own source, secure sandbox cloud computer. A real machine, not a metaphor, that can write and execute code in the background while you are still typing your question in a plain English. It's now running on Gemini 3.5 wrapped in a new agentic framework called Antigravity, the same infrastructure Google unveiled for coding agents, and Google own internal testing. The upgrade system beat the previous versions by more than 15 points margin across its top evaluation categories, with close to 70% win rate on large document analysis and over 78% on the web research. This isn't slightly better, this is different category of tool wearing the same name. Some of it even quietly get renamed. You will see it as Gemini Notebook in a few places now, same engine. So here's the real question this video answers. What does an AI with its own computer that finds its own resources and build real documents actually let you do that you couldn't do a month ago? Let's break it down piece by piece. I'm going to walk you through like a system, not a feature list, because that's how you actually get the real illegal result. Each layer stacks on the one before it. Layer 1, old book or NotebookLM was a library who only knew the books you personally handed her. You had to go every PDF, every article, every transcript physically uploaded before she could help you. Now NotebookLM can go get the books herself. Inside the sources panel, there is a new discovery function that works like Google search built directly into your notebook. Type something like top 5 AI models by usage in Japan with monthly active users for each, and it returns real, citable sources for you to review and pull in. The same way a search engine would, even translating results from other languages back into English so nothing gets lost. Here's why that one change is bigger than it sounds. Search used to be bottlenecked. You had spent 2 hours finding sources before you spent 20 minutes actually thinking. Now the finding and the thinking can happen in same conversation because you can literally start a project for a loose idea. No files, no folders, just a sentence. And let the notebook build the research base for you. You approve that it goes in. It doesn't just believe anything on the internet but get grunt work. The part that used to eat your whole afternoon is gone. Layer 2, every notebook now comes with a source, Sandboxed environment that can write and run code in the background. While you are chatting in a completely normal English, you never see a line of Python unless you ask to. You just ask a question that requires calculation, comparisons, or pattern finding across a huge dataset, and the notebook quietly writes a script, runs it, checks the output, and hands you the answer. Think about what that unlocks. Assessing businesses matrices across a 100-page quarterly report, cross-referencing academic resources that contradict each other, pulling exact number out of dataset instead of an AI's best guess at what the numbers probably were. And this is the detail almost every other video on this topic buries in a footnote. You can now see the steps. The tool shows its work in the chat, the reasoning trail from question to answer. So instead of trusting a black box, you can actually audit how it got there. For anything you are going to publish, hand to a client a base real decision on, and visibility is the difference between looks right and verified right. A note-taking app does not need its own computer. A research analyst does. That's the shift. Layer 3, this is where it stops being an AI chatbot and start being an output factory. The interference now has 3 columns you need to understand. Source on the left, everything you feed it. Chat in the middle, where you talk to it. And studio on the right, where you actually generate something real. And real is doing a lot of work in that sentence. Because the export list now reads like a small production team, PDF reports with charts and tables built in, Word documents, Markdown files, structured data as CSV or JSON, full Excel sheet, spreadsheets, PowerPoint docs, and can revise slide by slide just by describing what you don't like about them. Even images generated with Google's Nano Banana model straight from your source material. Here's a workflow trick nobody tells you. Skip the generic default templates, click into suggested formats instead because those aren't static. The notebook actually reads your specific sources first and purpose the report structure that fits what you gave it. A budget spreadsheet suggests looks different from a competitive analysis suggestion because the AI already understands the difference between your data and someone else. You upload a messy pile of research, you walk away with a finished, ready to send document. That's not summarizing anymore, that's doing the job. This next one is the most ambitious thing NotebookLM has ever shipped, and it's a feature that made creators like me sit up straight. You already may know the classic video overview, narrated slides with a voice reading over them. That's 2025. Technology now. Cinematic videos overviews with launch in March 2026 throw that model out entirely. Instead of static slides, you get fluid animated, narrative-driven videos built by 3 AI models working together. Gemini acts as creative director, making hundreds of structural and stylistic decisions about how to tell your specific story. Nano Banana Pro generates the visuals. Veo 3 renders the motion. Feed it a messy research folder and it comes back with something that looks like it was cut by an actual editor, because in the sense it was, just not a human one. There's a catch worth being upfront about. Right now it's English only 18 plus and it lives behind the higher Google AI Ultra subscription tier with a daily generation cap depending on your own plan. So this isn't fully free yet, but watch this space. Every feature on this list that started as an ultra exclusive has break down to free and pro tier within months. This is where the ceiling is heading. Layer 5. Quick gut check. Raise your hand if you have ever listened to an audio overview and thought, wait, go deeper on the one point, and just had to sit there and wait for an AI host to move on. You don't have to anymore. Since earlier this year, you can actually join that conversation while it's happening. Interrupt the 2 AI hosts mid-discussion, ask them to dig deeper on one specific point, request a simpler explanation, or steer the whole conversation towards an angle they haven't covered. It stops being a podcast you previously passively listened to and becomes a live study session with 2 tutors who already read everything you gave them and who never get tired of your questions. This is a feature I mentioned at the start the most daily users still don't know exists. Everyone talking about the code execution because it sounds impressive on a spec sheet. Almost nobody is talking about the fact that you can literally interrupt your own podcast. Layer 6, last layer, and it's the one that turns this from a search tool into a genuine learning system. NotebookLM now has memory retention. It tracks context across your past interactions in that notebook, so you are not re-explaining yourself every session. Operates independently from your own other Google activity, meaning you can manage or switch it off entirely if you want. Stack that with auto-generated flashcards and quizzes pulled strictly from your own uploaded materials, not the model's general knowledge of topic, but the exact document sitting in front of you, and you get something genuinely rare, a study system that cannot hallucinate the syllabus because it isn't allowed to live it. Upload a chapter, get flashcards from that chapter, get quizzed on that chapter, come back tomorrow and remember where you left off. Here's the thing that I want you to actually sit with, because this is the part that separates cool tool from unfair advantage. Every one of these 6 layers used to be a separate job, done by a separate person on a separate timeline. Finding sources was a research assistant, running the numbers was an analyst, building the report was you at 11 p.m, fighting with PowerPoints, making a video was an editor. Quizzing yourself was a study group you had to schedule around everyone's calendar. NotebookLM 2.0 collapsed that entire pipeline into one conversation running on a computer you don't have to manage for the price of Google account. That's not a productivity tip, that's a structural advantage. The student who uses this walks into an exam having been quizzed by a tutor that read the actual textbook cover to cover. The freelancer who uses this delivers a client report in the time it used to find the resources. The creator who uses this turns a stack of research into a script, a slide deck, and a companion PDF before launch. It generally does feel a little unfair, which is exactly why you should be one using it, instead of being the one it's used against. Let's lock this in. 6 layers stacked on top of each other. 1. It finds its own sources instead of waiting for you to upload them. 2. It has its own computer that writes, runs code, and shows you its reasoning. 3. It builds, finishes deliverables, reports, texts, spreadsheets, not just summaries. 4. It can cut your sources into cinematic mini documentary. 5. You can interrupt an AI host mid-conversation and redirect them live. 6. It remembers you and quizzes you strictly from your own material. None of this costs anything to start. Go to notebooklm.google.com, drop in one messy folder of research you have been avoiding, and just ask it a question, watch what comes back. If this saves you even 1 hour this week, that's exactly the kind of system I break down every time I post. Free AI tools that quietly do the work an entire team. Subscribe if you want to next one, and drop a comment with the messiest research product you are sitting on right now. I might build the next video around solving it live on screen. And if you are into AI image generation, I made a full value packed video on Nano Banana sitting right here on this channel. Go watch that one next, and as always, I see you in the next one.